Cocaine is derived from the leaves of the coca plant. When cocaine enters the body, it has a strong effect on body functions by acting as an irritant on the brain. Large overdose of cocaine causes convulsions, then death. Cocaine causes unusual and often unpredictable feelings and actions. In his ignorance, Marty took that dare, little knowing the eventual horror that lay in the deadly white powder.
Marty, have you seen the painting shears I bought last week? Can't seem to find them anywhere. Marty, you don't seem right. I'm worried about you. There's something wrong. I'm going to take you down to Dr. Peter this afternoon for a checkup.
No, I'm all right.
As his body gradually built up a tolerance, he needed more.
Ed, this should come up on the thing. Oh, no. Okay, now how do I make this the main thing? This is this new space. Oh, look, we got one. That's probably you. So up here, when you see the little eyeballs, that shows who's there.
Sweet. Oh yeah, I'm still there.
Now, why aren't we coming into play? Maybe I gotta hit the solo layout. Okay. Oh, it did something. Okay, no, that's right. This is so weird. Shouldn't have to present. Should they can hear us, but we're not on camera. Okay. They can hear us, but
Doesn't sound terrible. Marie, can you hear us? Marie, can you hear us?
oh, there's a comment. Yep, she is. Morning, y'all.
Can't see you. Yay. We're working on the camera piece.
Okay, I would say fix that out for a second. Maybe I just need to get rid of these weird new scene things they have. That's what I don't like. There we go.
Yay!
Yay!
Teamwork.
Ugh.
Well,
Dream team.
dream team.
She has not had her coffee. I just wanted to get you going before I come back.
Awesome.
We're live.
Woohoo!
Bridge Sky here.
Chelsea Lambert with Anything Helps.
And Chelsea, this is your space.
This is
So
our
whatever,
space.
2 o'clock?
2 o'clock, yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna have some guests coming on here in a little while, and I'm super excited to be here with you and finally being able to meet in person. So this is really exciting.
I'm your guest.
You are my guest. Thank you for being here. Thanks for helping get all of this set up and moving and started this morning. So as we were setting up, we were talking about, prompts and things to talk about and chat about today, and you had asked me what alternative.
What is
to me.
alternative
Yeah.
harm reduction?
What is alternative harm reduction? So I guess you're gonna have to go in a couple minutes. So, what is alternative harm reduction to you?
Well, I know harm reduction, I love that. When I first heard, ooh, reducing harm, that sounds like a good idea. Because Bridge was punished into abstinence. Long time. Abstinence is the only way, and there was consequences and court things, and 17 years that didn't work
Yeah.
at all. And I almost died a couple times. So if anybody has a problem with the term harm reduction, how about let's look at reducing harm rather than the person not being here and there's no options. Alternative is another great word. Now combining those things, I don't know what they mean, that's why I'm excited you're here to talk about them, but alternative for me is interesting. I hear that alternative or holistic, that's the alternative way. That's the natural human way.
Right.
It's very contradictory to
Yeah.
me, contradicted to me. So, but you were talking about on Anything Helps, the alternative harm reduction. I mean, all those things come together to me sounds beautiful.
Yeah, and that's kind of how the space was created for our podcast on the Anything Helps Minnesota YouTube channel is, Emmanuel and I have, been collaborating for several years. And as a yoga teacher and Thai therapist, I give and provide community yoga once a month, and we talked about, like how that's an alternative way to, meet people and teach people, like kind of outside of the box thinking and methods to, reduce harm. It's part of, folding in, yoga is kind of over here and recovery is over here. And it's been really cool to see, certain places and spaces that, yoga is being introduced, just because it is such a holistic approach to reducing, and increasing people's tools. It's adding tools to your toolbox, that are non-traditional, but also, like you were mentioning, like originally, that is original medicine. That's ancient medicine. That's how people prevented themselves, a long time ago, or helped themselves maintain body, mind, and spirit alignment. And in my experience, personally, and also with other people, that's where addiction comes in. We're trying to fill that void that yoga and other things can fill, so that we don't end up harming ourselves.
Right.
And so introducing the concept within Anything Helps, there's other places where it's happening as well. But for us, creating our own community of yoga and a space and place for people to come and learn. Because one of the biggest things in having conversations with people who aren't familiar with yoga and, the 8 limbs and the studies and the teachings and traditions is it's intimidating. If you've never been a part of it. And so for me, creating access for people who, might not be comfortable going into a yoga studio, or who might not have access to going to a yoga studio, whether it's from transportation or cost or mats and props and, all of those things. Because even like there's a million, YouTube yoga instructor videos and things like that. But if you don't have a yoga mat, that might be deterring. And so what I do and provide at Anything Helps is once a month I put on a yoga class. I bring the blocks, I bring the mats, I bring the props, so that people don't have to worry about that. And so we just bring everything as, kind of a package, so that people can just experience low key, like what a class could be like. And typically what I cover is like, it's very simple, but also holistic and encompassing like some sort of breath work or mini meditation. And I don't usually go for like a whole hour, because that also, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I can't bend like that, or oh, I can't move like that. And so again, harm reduction in yoga is, if somebody can't sit seated on the floor, giving them alternatives, like maybe sitting on a pillow or a block or a chair. And, so it's all demonstrating like the concept of harm reduction and teaching people that, because we tend to get in our own way too.
Oh,
where,
absolutely.
I just saying I can't, bend, move, and things of that nature. And so showing people that you can, and how to do it safely. Because one of the other things that doesn't get talked about is, everybody's trying to look like the teacher. Well, every body is different and can't move in the same way as a yoga instructor who's been practicing 1, 5, 10, years. And so learning like for me, it's all about learning to connect with your body and how you show up in that space in your body. And it's not focusing on like, can I perform this pose? Because, so much of life is all about performing.
Oh, you just nailed it. And I actually have like friends that are very well experienced in yoga. And my own experience is, as soon as they start saying the fancy pose names, I immediately feel insecure, and it's like, it kind of makes me want to make excuses in my brain, like, well, I have back problems, or I'm not doing it right. It's that comparison that my brain wants to go to. And I also feel like I love this idea of everyone's a beginner walking in.
Yeah.
Like that is a yoga session that I would attend.
Yeah.
Because the ones that I've gone to, and they even have fancy outfits. And I walk in and I feel out of place, you know. And then I've tried them, and at certain ones, like, it is important to be safe with it. Because I've tried to do these extreme poses that they have. And I'm just hurting myself trying to, speaking out loud the analogy of it. I'm hurting myself trying to fit into this fancy yoga class, defeating the whole purpose I'm there anyway.
Yeah, and doesn't that just like exemplify like our society in general?
Yes.
You know, and that's where I love to try and like kind of start with creating a space of, you know, your yoga mat, like pretend there's nothing else outside of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're just here with yourself on this mat and I'm just a guide, as opposed to being the teacher or the instructor. Like I'm just making suggestions. Like if you just want to show up to class and lay on your mat,
Love it.
do that.
Yes.
You know, just be in community with other people who are wanting to learn something new and add to their toolbox. Because for me, like that's what I've spent the last 20 years doing, is just collecting tools so that when I'm feeling dysregulated or having anxiety or things of that nature, like I can go to this box, which is now overflowing,
Mm-hmm.
and just pick out what feels right for me. And that's what I want to provide and help other people with.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. We should see if there's any questions.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot of questions for you now, but I would like to let other people get in on it. Okay, so we are live. And what's great is that means anything that's talked about right now, the whole point is we want you to interact, to ask the questions, to especially, I love the challenge of, I don't agree with any of what you're saying.
Mhm.
So I dose for myself. I will put that on you, Chelsea.
No, I'm
This
good
is
with
your
it.
time.
I love
a challenge, like, because I spent so long in the struggle. I know that I challenged a lot of things. And in the time of survival, fight or flight, they absolutely made sense and they got me to where I'm at. However, now I'm realizing a lot of those didn't serve me. They aren't serving me anymore. You know, they served me then, but I was my own worst enemy for sure. And so I love, I love the 12-step community. That is my foundation, okay? However, I've made those steps, that connection, work for me.
Yep.
Not what I hear out in a lot of other spaces. That was how I made it work. But it was 17 years of, I don't like that. I don't like how I said that. I don't like how she's preaching about that. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't connect to my soul.
Yep. 100%.
So the only way I was able to make it work was, you know, really surrendering. I mean, losing it all. And I accepted that I'm going to do all the things they tell me to do. Every single person, every court, judge, mentor, sponsor, I'm going to do all the things. And in the back of my mind, I was thinking, because I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
It ain't worked for me for 17 years. And ironically, yes, it's like I didn't, there was a lot of sayings and a lot of things that didn't make sense to me. But the one that now serves me and makes sense to me is, it's on the table. Take what you want, leave the rest, Bridge.
Yeah.
So I finally realized I can come here and take what I want, what serves me, what makes sense to me,
Yeah.
and leave most of it if I want to.
Well, now that you're talking about it, I think, so I was very much, when I showed up in, I was 18 at the time, and I showed up in, my first meetings, and I had gone to treatment, day treatment, and things like that, and I think that's one of the things, like, I subconsciously, take what you like and leave the rest, because I was like, I don't like that, I don't like that, I don't like that, nope, 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 and so I did, like, take the learnings and find my own path.
Yeah.
But back then it wasn't okay
Right.
to do that, and so I did feel shunned in that I wasn't willing to conform and climb in the box with everybody else. And so I did just kind of go do my own thing. I'm focused on other things like trauma therapy and things like that.
Yes.
And then I found myself almost 20 years later now finding myself teaching, harm reduction and talking about harm reduction and being an advocate. And it's been really amazing, and especially I think in the last 5 years, from what I've observed, like now it is okay, especially with like the harm reduction being the more accepted topic of conversation, that it's okay to have your own way and find your own way and do your own thing. Like it's always said it in the book, but it was more of the four walls that you put yourself in with community and people that creates that acceptance or not. And so I just love harm reduction in general for that, because it's given permission to so many people to find alternative ways to redefine what recovery means to them.
Yes.
So
Yes. And I think that's what I needed when I took the the recovery peer support training. It was like it spoke to all the things I had been feeling, walking into many meetings where I just, I felt like the black sheep in the meeting, or in that group. And it took me a long time to find a space where I felt safe and was able to be open.
Yeah.
And share the stuff I don't want to get sidetracked. I think what is interesting, and I'm hoping when it's my time, I have certain people coming on, I want to have some really good conversations about the unwritten rules that everyone likes to talk about this is the book and this is what it said. That's your perception, which has probably been passed down and passed down and passed down. Have you thought about what that really means? Because when I hear you say it, it means this to me.
Yeah.
Right? I'm getting riled up, but when I talk to people that actually want to have a conversation, I'll say, when you hear that question or even that word in the book, what does it mean to you? And 9 times out of 10, it's what they were told, which they were told. And this book was written in 1938, so it's not even that long ago.
Yeah.
However, it is where we sit today. So it's just giving that grace of, I didn't know what I didn't know. And there's still many people right around out the door right now that just don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
It's been taught, and it worked for them. But the realization that I've realized, especially for myself and in the community, is we have to evolve and change with the times, okay? Because alcohol and the substances that are out there now are not what they used to be.
Right.
Okay? And they're immediate. There's no time for harm reduction. So I take the abstinence thoroughly. This is the one way, the only way. You can only do it with one sponsor, or, you got to go through the steps thoroughly. Like 4 has got to be this and that. That's incorrect. As long as you're on this journey with me, we're going to continue.
Right.
That whole, I know they say it a lot, but I love it. Meeting a person with their at.
Yeah. And that changes.
Oh yes. I mean, I was here and I was back here, and I made really good progress. A year. I mean, I even got 18 months of just real, like, I wouldn't say recovery. Now looking back, like, it was just me staying clean and staying sober, for other people.
Yeah.
For me, recovery means I'm recovering who I was meant to be.
Yep.
And that's been 5 years. Oh, it's still just all the memories flood in of how much I struggled.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anyone's fault, right? But I was so locked in a prison in my mind. And hearing, it has to be, you have to be this way. And you have to follow this path. It's just like, it again made me feel like I can't be that. So I don't deserve, I'm never enough, right? And it was even more of a hard struggle for me, because it had worked for everybody else that was telling me this is the way you need to do it, and I'm trying to do it, and it's not enough.
You perceived.
I perceived that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the bubble burst and I realized I need to do it, like, not my way, but I need to do it where it connects with me.
Yeah.
I'm still, like, I guarantee in 5 years, I have more knowledge on every single step. But I've connected with it, and I've connected with it my own way. And it's so wonderful to sit down with someone who has the traditional, sense of it, and just pick one word out of one step and ask them what that means to them. Because many times it has connected differently with me. And in my safe space, my home group, my Bad Moms group, what's beautiful is there's a lot of open minds in there. And so we all learn from each other.
Yeah.
And we're open to hearing other people's perceptions of one word, one step.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've made it my home group because that's a me I finally found, and it helped being more open and clear-minded, that I can grow with. I can grow, every time I walk away, I feel like I gained something. I learned something. Where there was a lot of meetings, I got real stagnant, and I'd walk away feeling depleted.
Yeah.
And I would agree 100% when I did that training. I mean, there was so many moments of just, oh, yes, yes. But hearing that there's recovery's not linear.
Yeah.
And there's not one specific path. And for some people, there's many paths. I need all of them, right? And so, like, yoga, the body, the mind connection, I mean, that's where I feel like the healing has come in now. For me, just that first beginning part of, like, really wanting recovery was just recovering all the damage I had been doing for 17 years. And now where I'm at, I'm finally in the space of, like, I welcome the healing.
Yeah.
And I want it, like, as much as I can. I have a lot of trauma, but now I'm open to it. Like, I'm open to, at, my comfort level, going into that. And I feel like yoga is probably, for me, the one I've avoided the most. In a sense, the body stuff, because I had a lot of childhood body trauma. And I don't notice it. Again, I'm really good at distracting and staying on the positive until, like, this weekend, I'm stressed out and my back. I literally had to come late, and actually a lot of my ladies don't even know this. Yes, I was late because I don't have a car and I had to get a ride. But I could have came earlier, but I had so much pain in my back. I was having a problem walking and functioning.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, ooh, that's the universe saying, well, I need to get this on check, working through. That's why I feel like you're in my space right now for a reason.
Absolutely.
That's how spirit works.
That is how spirit works. 100%. And that's where, like, there's, in my opinion, there's still, like, absolutely, like, first get clean. Oops. Is that our door?
Yeah, that might be Charles. I'm the two
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, go check.
Yeah. I didn't invite you yet. But continue.
Yeah. So what I was saying is, like, initially, like, yes, there's absolutely a time and a space, like, get clean, and establish that for a certain amount of time. And then, hey, Charlie. Welcome. But then as you kind of get comfortable in that space, moving on to the next and inviting more space in for yourself. Because, like, you're talking about, like, so much of us, I'm also a certified Thai therapist, so I studied in Thailand. And
Oh my gosh, that's
the
so cool.
more
That's
I-
great.
the more I learned about, like, the tradition of Thai therapies, we have not evolved as much as we like to think we have evolved.
Yeah.
Because Thai therapies is 3,500-year-old tradition that I was able to learn from some very amazing Ajahns, but, like, the disconnect between mind and body, like, Pichet was one of the teachers that my teacher studied with, like, 20 years. I was supposed to study with him, and he actually passed, like, 3 months before I went to Thailand.
Oh.
I still studied with his son and daughter-in-law at the school, like, it's still operating. But everybody always talks about these Pichet-isms. And one of my colleagues, who did get to study with him, one of his Pichet-isms is, like, you're here, you go here.
Oh.
Fighting, here, go.
Ooh, just getting goosebumps.
Yeah. And we as an American culture are so disconnected. We're all super heady and have to like figure things out and plan, and that's part of our trauma response, which served us until now. And especially some people are still lacking and wanting to learn more about removing this disconnect and bringing yourself back into your body. A lot of people avoid it, which I totally get, especially those of us with compounded trauma. And I was terrified, and like I was my first client, and so I've spent the last 10 years focusing heavily on healing myself, using these tools that I've picked up along the way so that I can speak from my own experience and also share with people. Like, I was also terrified and I still did it anyways. And it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. And we all lack that patience, that instant gratification, but really truly like embodying and doing these things has changed who I am and how I show up in the world for myself and for everybody in my immediate vicinity and like the community that I serve. And like that speaks volumes to everyone and everything. And so like that's just where like this is what I'm here and meant to be doing. And I love what you said earlier about you said something to the effect of like rediscovering like who you are, and getting back to that place. And that's very much how I feel. It's like I believe I was born with all of the everything that I ever needed, who I ever was. But then, society, parental programming, all of those things and experiences and trauma removes us from that. And so to me, that's my purpose, is getting back to that. And as I've been doing that, the more like I can feel safe and secure to sit with myself and my body. And for those of us who didn't receive those tools and I've had to pick them up and teach them myself along the way, it's a lot easier to stay in my body and in my purpose than it's ever been. And I have such gratitude. Even now when I do get dysregulated, it's so much easier to just be like, oh, and have the acknowledgement and the recognition, but then pick up one or many of the tools that I've put in my toolbox to be able to come back to like, I'm okay. So yeah, alternative harm reduction and the invitation that brings, it just makes it every recovery so much more accessible to so many more people. So.
Oh, it just brought so much like inspiration, like hope.
Yes.
It still makes me emotional. But everything you just shared, just when you did that, like I realized, oh my gosh, I am almost my head connecting with my heart. And I feel like with like meditation helps a lot. I mean, get me in that space. And I think though with a lot of people that I don't know, it's like the body thing. And I'm excited to like get involved or attend one of your monthly yoga, because I feel like that's the missing piece for me, is the actual physical body piece. Because I was so abused that it's hard to even, if someone comes up and touches me, if it's not expected, like even with hugging. Like immediately I just talked to a stranger downstairs, but it's like I already knew, like we already were coming, like I felt that energy. But when I don't feel that energy or I don't feel safe and you just put your hand on me, I feel my body lock up.
Absolutely.
And I dislike that very much. And I realized like just everything you talked about, it gives me hope, like that I can connect those things. And I don't even realize how much they're not connected until I can't walk. Like yesterday, I mean, just walking around like an old lady going down the stairs. I'm like, how do I keep, I'm still in my head, and not even aware of it. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, should we I think this is a good test run.
Yeah, I think so.
You want to take a little
Yeah,
pause?
take a little
Well,
pause.
we're going to be doing this, let's see, we're at almost 11 o'clock. Charlie, you want to say hi quick?
I'll say hi.
Well, this is a real collab thing.
Hello, right here.
Here's the Creatives right here. Did you guys like the title?
Camera. Yep.
Right here. Yeah, that's I'm trying to upgrade. I got a lot
It's
of
tremendous. This
Do you want to say hi, Charles?
You guys are all amazing. Every single one of you, and I am so happy to be here.
Yeah.
So happy to be here.
Beautiful.
We're gonna
This
be having
is
some great
a rig
conversations.
we've got going on here. I'm telling you, this is a rig. It's a sweet setup.
The Way Out podcast.
We are
The
podcast.
ironing board. We're
Should we
talking
show
about
everybody?
How earlier generations.
Look how we
and
do it,
how
y'all.
Newer generations would
Right.
not know what to do.
Would
with
not
it.
know.
This is the iron board table. That's how we roll. When the furniture's so fancy here, you can't move it around. But find
Behind
something
the
in the
scenes.
closet,
Yeah.
you know? Okay, well, I'm
We
gonna.
are not bashful about our
Sign up
behind
for
the
one.
scenes.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's real.
That's
Do you guys like the title? F-A.
yes.
I had to look that up. I'm like, this is a real acronym. I'm gonna go with it. Okay, I'm gonna just pause. We will be back whenever we feel like it. Join us. Okay, end stream. And end stream.